What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets Haber. We are at week 6 of the NFL season. It's going to be another fun one. I was saying, like, beforehand that I think there's more interesting games in some ways than I feel like we've had in a little while. Yeah, no, I know that it's only 10 games, but it does feel interesting to me. I want to just make like a little note to myself. Like, I had everything basically covered. I made money in the NFL last weekend. Don't get me wrong. But I had every right idea kind of covered. I was obsessed with the game I was at, the Chargers and Browns game. In fact, because I was going to it, I almost like took a little bit more action. Like, am I getting too carried away with this game? But obviously that game completely went nuts. And what I did, though, was wrong, was if you're going to play that game that heavily, even if he costs too much, even whatever, I just should have played a little bit of Mike Williams. I mean, I ever had every lineup had Keenan Allen, every lineup with Nick Chubb. Chubb was great. I should have probably gotten a little bit more exposure to the rest of the passing games. That's one thing I'd like to correct myself on, that I think I may have made a little mistake. If you're that into a game, take the other receivers. I know that they might seem too expensive and whatever. I should have had more Mike Williams. Anyway.
Is David Njoku finally arrived?
I mean, I don't know if he arrived. I don't even know if he's not even like their number one tight end.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this guy. Anyway, we'll get into that game too, because that's going to be another interesting one this week. But why don't you pull up your screen or give me your initial thoughts on the slate, and then we'll go game by game, because I think there's a lot of ways we can go here. Is there any sort of overall take you have? I know it's 10 games less than we've had so far, but anything you want to mention before we get into it?
I guess I don't see the elephant in the room, but I'm wondering what's going to happen with the Giants, right? They're going to be without, I presume, Barkley's definitely out, but also I presume that Daniel Jones isn't playing, right? He is on track. Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll probably end up playing, is my guess.
Okay. But the Rams are gonna lay a freaking beating on the Giants. That I can.
And all of the Giants, for some reason, like, they'll show up as your best value plays.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't quite get there yet.
Oh, okay. Really? Point per dollar wise, they show up, and it's a little tricky. I do love the kid. We'll get into that game in a minute, though. I think he's awesome.
The guy that got kicked out.
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah.
I didn't know he got kicked out.
Oh, it was brutal. Yeah, he was smashing for everybody, and then he got ejected.
This is what happens when you're at the games and you miss the games.
Exactly.
I had no idea. He still smashed. I mean,
he smashed, and he was going to smash more and more garbage time. And then he got ejected. Got fighting. Oh
man. Let's go game by game here.
Yeah.
And I think that this first game is pretty easy for me. I have two very strong plays, I think, from the same side. I watched that game on Sunday night, or was it? No, what was it? When was it? The Monday night. Indy. I watched it very closely. They are actively trying to get Paris Campbell involved, and I think this is the week where he could have the big blow up game. It's going to happen at one of these weeks sooner or later. They're looking for him downfield. They're looking for him on big plays. Hasn't gotten in the end zone. Hasn't had that really, really big play to set him apart. Still had a very nice night. He's 3.4K. I'm looking for value at receiver, so I think he's extremely viable. And by the way, they seem to prefer him almost over Pascal. They'll run that little what do you call it? A little slant route for Pascal and try and see what he can make after the catch. I think Pittman is viable, but mostly it's going to be Paris Campbell and Jonathan Taylor for me. I really like Jonathan Taylor. I like the Indy defense. I like that pairing. That's how I'd want to approach this. I don't mind the Houston defense as a minimum on the other side, by the way. I'll always take a cheap defense against Carson Wentz. And that's pretty much my interest in this game.
Yeah, I think Taylor and the Colts defense is a very logical combination. And I continued my completely blessed life in Survivor Pool. Not only did I have Minnesota at a 0% chance to win with 1 minute to go, but I also had Baltimore on Monday, who had less than a 0% chance. You know what I mean? Like, basically going to.
You're going to win that freaking thing this year.
Of course.
Of course.
And Baltimore, they were just in total control of the game. But then what happens is once you get Baltimore, it's just like going downhill and putting a pace on you. You know what I mean? It's just really, really tough, and And then like when they lost the coin flip in overtime, and you may as well just walk off the field. You know what I mean? They would just
Right.
there's no way they could stop them after that. But Baltimore, there, Taylor had obviously even outside of that big play, even if you back out that 76-yard screen pass, I mean, he was doing work, man. And so I like that. I like the Houston. I like the Baltimore defense as the Colts defense. I don't think that either of those takes are going to be particularly earth shattering, but yeah, I like that a lot.
I'm telling you though, look out for two things in this game. That's Paris Campbell and Chris Conley. That's you're gonna want value at receiver.
Chris Conley.
If you want to play, if you're gonna want value at receiver at some point, and I'll just take the guy who had 3 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown last week. I'm going to be mixing in a few of these different cheap plays because I really am. I keep finding that I need a cheap receiver on my lineups. And Paris Campbell is my number one of these guys, but both of them are definitely on my board. Chris Conley playing the game, that Houston's going to have to throw it. And by the way, I'll take another stance on this game. I actually think Indy's better than everybody thinks they are, and yet I still think Houston covers the spread pretty easily here. I think Houston actually is in this game. I think this is a game where you can, Davis Mills has finally looked like adequate. I'm not going to get to the point where playing Brandon Cooks, but I do think that this game is going to be a little bit closer than what the current people have projected. And if I could get one running back out of them, I would feel good about it. I just can't find out who the guy would be. But I do like the cheap receivers in this game.
Okay, Green Bay, Chicago. We were on. We knew we all had Devontae Adams right last week. We knew that coming out of that game the week before, where he really was a non-factor. They were just going to make sure that he got there. He smashed hard. And I don't have a lot in this game except for maybe Adams again and the Green Bay defense. That's pretty much the only guys that showed up for me in much of anything. You like anything in this game?
I'm gonna probably pass on Adams because of the price, and it's hard for me to get to him. That's the truth. He's just I'm already struggling with price, and you'll see why in just a second. But I think that there's a real argument to be made for both Mooney and Allen Robinson. I know they haven't had the blowout up game. Mooney had a good game, but I think that the Bears playing that, that they're going to have to be passing down in this game, assuming that game script plays out. I think Mooney at 4,300, and this is the cheapest I've ever seen Allen Robinson since I've played DFS. I don't know if he's ever been cheaper. I don't think he's ever been cheaper. And they've had some weird matchups where in weird situations he's had kind of a down year, but 5.3 and 4.3, I'd probably be willing to take a shot on those guys. That's pretty much all I have for this game. I don't want to get heavily invested. But I do think both those guys are viable. That's pretty much all I've got. So happy to move on to the next one, KC and Washington.
Yeah. So for me, KC and Washington is the clear game stack. And what is this? Hill won't practice. I'm presuming Hill is in for the purpose of this discussion.
I'm gonna presume Hill's in as well.
Okay. So all the usual suspects are in play for KC for openers. Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey's just total standout as far as tight ends go this week. And then on the other side, this is where all the value is, I suppose. Taylor Heineke, then and Terry McLaurin and Ricky Seals at tight end is a good price. I guess Curtis Samuel remains in play, right? So I think to me this is the kind of the elite game stack situation.
Yeah, I agree with all that. We'll have to see if Samuel plays. I don't think he's. I think he's out.
Okay.
So I think that means that I actually think that means Adam Humphries in this kind of a game is actually really interesting. Not a guy I generally want to play on the large slates, but you're going to get a pretty decent amount of workload against this Chiefs team, and I think he's going to score. I think he's my cheap receiver from this, on this slate. Love Terry McLaurin, love Hill and Kelsey. Probably would give the slight edge to Hill if he's healthy. I don't know actually, because the price on Kelsey has come down a little bit. I really like both these guys. I will have the double stack. That's why I need to do a little bit of my shuffling around. I want the Mahomes to these guys. I think that they absolutely smash them here. I think they're only like 66% to win this game. I would take whatever odds you can that KC wins this game. I'm not going to say that everything covers because, it's weird, 7 points on the road and all that stuff. But I really think KC comes out and smashes sort of like they did against the Eagles. And honestly, we didn't mention one other guy here. It might be a little bit of a timeshare, but I like Darrell Williams too. I'm a little worried about McKinnon taking away some of that, but everybody in this game is extremely viable. I like the Gibson on the Washington side. You could run it back with Gibson and Humphreys, Gibson and McLaurin. Then you have to play just one of the big receivers because you can't afford all those guys. But I think this is the game that you really want to stack, and I don't think it's going to be anything earth-shattering. But I think there's plenty of ways you could do it, which is maybe a little bit different than what people think. De'Ami Brown is another one of the cheap receivers that I think could have a big role this week. I think overall, though, I think you just want to bet on Humphreys, McLaurin, Hill, Kelsey. And I'm going to throw out one last name for you here as a cheap guy. This guy is the best 3.4 receiver in the history of football. The problem is he hasn't played football consistently for a very long time. That's Josh Gordon. When he left the game because of his personal issues, was probably the most talented receiver or one of the most talented receivers in the NFL. And now you get to play in the KC offense. I just get the feeling that they're going to get him involved one of these weeks, and maybe this is the week for it. All of the KC, other receivers you could make an argument for because they're always viable with Mahomes back there. But I think Josh Gordon could separate himself one of these days. By the way, McCole Hardman had, what did he have, 12 targets last week and 9 catches?
Yep.
All these guys are interesting to me. So I like the value for the receivers. I like the Hyatt, the spend ups. I really like this whole game. I don't think it's anything earth shattering, but that's the game I'm going to be targeted on the most.
Josh Gordon got in the game in the
he caught a ball.
He caught a ball, and then he committed like an offensive pass interference. It's kind of a weird call. Did you know that he was like 15% owned?
No.
Yeah.
On the main on the showdown slate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it doesn't shock
people.
People love Josh Gordon. I mean,
they love Josh Gordon.
We've seen it. We saw it before when he was putting up 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. Like he's been at times the best receiver in the NFL 5 years ago or whatever. Anyway, he looked like it.
Hey, if they ran this as a showdown, I would try it also. I can't get to that.
I understand. I'm trying to whittle through my cheap receivers because I'm going to need some
I'll find the 300 for Deshaun Jackson.
That's fair enough. But in all fairness, I'm not sure that's a better play.
Speaking of which,
we have the Rams and Giants, and this does feel like a game where Deshaun Jackson could shake loose for one. The issue I have with Deshaun Jackson is pretty simple. I'm not sure he's a better play than Van Jefferson is. Simple as that. Van Jefferson has played 5 games this season as the Rams. He's put up 16 and 21 in 2 of those games. There is an absolute path. They really like him. He is the other receiver that gets forgotten about. And I think that he's really interesting as a spend down as well. So Van and Deshaun Jackson, just because they're big playability, especially Djax with a big playability, but Van is the same way. And I am not going to be I'm guessing that Darrell Henderson is going to, Darrell Henderson is going to be really popular this week. I'm fine with it. It does make sense with game script and everything, but I'm not sure I'm going to go for that particular chalk. I do like him, but I don't know if I want to play him at what I'm guessing is going to be extremely high ownership. And on the Giants side, I think we should try to find something here because, I mean, we have to know who's playing for sure. But if Slayton is out, well, first of all, if Slayton's in, I kind of like Slayton. If he's out, I kind of like John Ross. I do like Kadarius Toney, but I think they're going to treat him like the number 1 receiver, which means the Jalen Ramsey treatment. So I don't know. I just feel like there's something to do with this Giants team. And I guess that maybe Devontae Booker is the answer. I'm just throwing out a bunch of things because I think they're going to be playing catch up quite a bit of this game. And I guess Booker would probably be the guy. How about you?
What's the Rams defense here? 8K? I mean, what? You got a turnover machine in waiting in Daniel Jones. Maybe not so much this year, but and Jalen Ramsey's going to be hunting these whatever he has basically free reign to do whatever he wants out there now.
Yeah.
So wherever he wants to go, he'll go.
Evan Ingram, by the way, too.
Okay. So I like the Rams defense, obviously. And here I'm gonna want to show you something. This is the video. This is one of the great moments, or the worst moments in Giants history. I will just show this up on the screen.
How do they?
All you got to do is punt it out of bounds. All you got to do is avoid Deshaun Jackson. That's literally all you have to do.
Deshaun Jackson's not even on the Eagles.
Okay, wait. He punted. This is
the old one.
Yep.
Oh man, that's pretty brutal.
And then wait. Now here's the rubbing. Are you ready? Dun, 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 dun.
That's pretty brutal.
At Giant Stadium.
That's the old one.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, all right, man. I mean, like I can get behind it or whatever, but do you have any like strong takes on this game that are different? I like a lot of pieces of.
I like Darrell Henderson.
Like Henderson.
Yeah, the Rams what they do. I mean, once they get the lead, they'll run out the clock. I think.
Will they?
I think. Okay. I think they'll slam it.
I'm still very, very, very like I honestly think that this is another great week to go right back to Robert Woods too. But I think the Giants are where you want to try and get your value from this week. I think Evan Ingram is a terrific play at tight end. I think you can actually use double tight end stacks if you play him with Kelsey. I think there's definitely a ceiling for him here. As good as the Rams defense is good. It's not quite as good as everybody thinks, and they will give up big plays. That's why I like the third receiver, whether it be Slayton or Ross this week. And I think you want to get some exposure to Devontae Booker as well. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Well, what about Devontae Booker? I mean, is he going to be chalk somehow?
I mean, he kind of like his projections would make you think he's going to be. He's going to
someone else can play that.
He's 5,400 though. Like he's going to get a ton of work. They're going to try to run the ball in the Rams, which teams have been able to do. So I don't know. I think he's interesting for his price. He and Henderson both are definitely interesting. All right, let's move over to Cincinnati and Detroit.
So I have Swift as my top running back, value adjusted and all that stuff on the slate. So I presume he's going to be popular. That's what I have. The other thing I have is I have Cincinnati as being the kind of a team to target as far as stacks go. So maybe this game in and of itself is worth going after. I mean, I like hope Burrow plays. Chase, Boyd, I mean all these guys. And if you don't trust Goff or whatever to gain yards coming back, I liked Hawkinson coming back. I like DeAndre Swift, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, CJ had 2 targets and 2 catches. Didn't quite win $1 million, but yeah. And I kind of like this game a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a little bit of a sneaky game. I definitely what I want to do though is with Cincinnati is to play these. I think T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are both terrific, options that are maybe going to be overlooked. I love Jamar Chase, but I feel like all these receivers you could put at the same price or near the same price. There's going to be that one week where you get the guy who's got 9 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns or something. And I feel like both Boyd and Higgins stand out to me. So I like that part of this game. I like Hawkinson and I like Swift, but I don't think that like they're must-haves or you need to play them. But I do like both of them, especially Swift. So yeah, I can get behind this game stack a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to play Burrow, but I'd be open to it. Certainly. So I think it's viable. I have Kansas City as a much better thing. I like the Arizona Cleveland game, but this might be maybe my third game that I would look to stack. Although the next game coming up is pretty interesting as well.
I think this game's going to blow up.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what to do with it though. I mean, Baltimore defense is really not that good. I thought I'd let you know that.
Yeah.
And Chargers have some weapons, and you were there for, you saw what can happen in some of these Charger games.
Yeah.
And when Baltimore, when they get it going, they get it going. And I'll tell you, Marquise Brown actually caught a ball.
Got a few, man.
Yeah,
He's
he
pretty
sure
good out
did.
there.
He sure did. And we figured out who the running back was for Baltimore, and that was nobody.
Right.
So I'm into this, man. I don't usually like to play Lamar in GPPs because I just end up not knowing what to do with it. But I think I'm just going to try to figure it out. So it's going to be him and Mark Andrews. I mean, Mark Andrews, he was just locked in on him like the whole fourth quarter and into the overtime. I don't know how he did it, man. I think a 2-point conversion. He basically could have walked into the end zone, but he actually just squeezed it into freaking Mark Andrews.
I know, twice.
Too, really crazy. But yeah, I think this whole game goes kind of ballistic. I like Andrews. I like Marquise Brown. Why not? I like Lamar, Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams, Allen, all of it.
Yeah, I just said this, that my mistake from last week was being heavy on that game and not playing Mike Williams. I still think I might avoid Mike Williams again. It feels crazy. He's 8,100, man. I mean, are we really going to pay the same for Mike Williams basically as we are for Tyreek Hill? It just feels kind of nuts. And I actually think Keenan Allen is still their number one receiver. They just had him locked up and they were focused on him. He had 16 targets in that game we were at, Mike Williams. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, by the way, had plenty of chances too. I mean, he had nine targets, and I think overall he's gonna more often than not be the one who gets more targets. I don't think the Chargers cornerbacks are bad, so I'm not gonna take the Marquise Brown thing very highly this week. I do like this game to potentially shoot out. I like the whole thing. I think Lamar is the best play on the slate. I don't think it's really particularly. I'm sorry, like. I love Kyler Murray. I love Mahomes in my stacks. I love both those guys for my stacks. Lamar just has the highest upside of anybody in football. What does he lead the league in rushing and receiving right now? Basically,
yeah.
It's like, what do we want more from a guy? But I like the Andrews idea. I mean, we saw what tight ends can do, and the tight end just Njoku beat up on this Chargers team. All the underneath routes. I really like Andrews. I like this whole game. So I am very into this game as being one of my three, actually.
Yep, I totally agree.
And the only issue you get with, you have Jared Cook super cheap, but like they play Parham so much now, it's hard to know. They seem like he's falling out of favor a little bit with the Chargers, but I just think you want to get exposure to all parts of this game. And the one thing no one is going to do is play Latavius Murray. I feel like I could maybe take a shot with that because of how the Chargers can be beaten on the ground. I think that's the best way to beat them. And yeah, I like every part of this game.
I do like Eckler, even outside of stacks.
Yep.
I like Eckler.
I like Eckler as well.
So speaking of which, I mean, speaking of running backs, let's
go to the two best in football.
Let's get into some of these Q tags. McCaffrey likely going to play, I guess. Dalvin Cook, I don't know what's going to happen to him, but I think that McCaffrey. I think both of them are kind of suspect. When I say that, I mean I don't know how much they really want to let McCaffrey just go wild off of an injury. Darnold has been just good enough, right? I don't know what happened to them in their last game against Philadelphia. I honestly don't know what happened. I know they lost, but I think that they can get away with not, using McCaffrey like a zillion plays a game. So if he ends up being chalky for some reason, well, he's going to be. I mean, look, he's C-Mac, which going to be people are going to play him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I'm going to want him. He rates really high, but I don't know. It just something seems weird. And then the Minnesota side, I'd much rather Cook be out and just play Madison again. I love that guy.
Yeah,
even though he fumbled it in a really nasty spot, almost cost me zillions in survivor equity. If Cook plays, I'd probably be more inclined to play Cook than McCaffrey. Like Cook at 7,700 is really cheap. You know what I mean? If he's healthy. So I don't know. I think everybody, all the running backs in this game are in play. I didn't quite get to the receivers though, which seems wrong. You know, like every week, you know, Thielen and Jefferson look like good plays, and every week DJ Moore seems like a good play. Why don't I like him this week? Am I missing it?
I think that they're facing a really these are good corners in Carolina.
Okay.
But Adam Thielen is 5,800. I don't care who you are. That's too cheap.
Right.
I think Robbie Anderson has a chance at having a huge game. Robbie Anderson, things have not gone his way. DJ Moore, but you look 18 targets over the last 2 games for Anderson. Now they didn't hit a lot of those, but you hit one play and you're good. He's so cheap at 4,800. So I'm gonna play some Robbie Anderson. Just think the air yards are gonna catch up with it at some point. I like McCaffrey personally. If we're talking about these other guys, I'll take the shot on McCaffrey at 8,800 instead of playing Eckler at 79. I like Eckler too, but I think McCaffrey could go completely nuclear, however you say it, in this game. And I do like the Carolina run defenses. I think Carolina is like the sneaky, like long shot Super Bowl bet. They're not going to win it, but they have they're like 100 to 1, and they shouldn't be. They should be like 30 to 1. So I like this game. I don't know. I'm not as heavy on DJ Moore and Justin Jefferson, but I do like Thielen and Anderson. And I like another one of the cheap guys who we're going to consider on both sides, KJ Osborne and Terrence Marshall. Those are your cheap options. I'm going to be looking for those cheap receivers because I need to play these high-end running backs, these high-priced receivers that the Chiefs game, and I like the Cleveland game, and I like the Baltimore game. These guys are all expensive. So I'm going to need some cheap receivers. KJ Osborne and Terrence Marshall are on my list right now.
All right. You want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Weird game, right? So Arizona, Cleveland, probably like 100 total.
Why is it not 100 total? That's what I want to. This seems like the easiest over bet in history, right?
What is it, like 52 or something?
50.
Yeah, really? What the hell?
Feels like it should. I mean, I said it about the Charger game last week, and I mean, they smashed the over. Like that was not that close to over. They scored.
They almost got it to each team.
Yeah, seriously, they almost hit the over each side. This feels like a game that could go like that. The only thing that I'm starting to think is like, what if Arizona's defense is actually good? That's the only thing that scares me.
And it's in Cleveland, though. Like.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm a big fan of Chubb. I'm a big fan of basically just Chubb on that side, to be honest with you. I can't figure out what the hell's happening from week to week with Njoku and Austin Hooper. Njoku was just crazy in that game against the Chargers, but that's all they did is this. I mean, Baker will not throw the ball downfield. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm saying it looks like he can't. Like when you watch him play, he had Odell Beckham wide open for a 70-yard or whatever, and he just threw it underneath him. He saw him too. He just threw it underneath him. If Jarvis Landry is back, he's too cheap. I don't know if he'll be back or not. And I am just going to stick with my same thing. If I'm going to play the passing game, I'm going to play Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins. And that is just as simple as I'm going to do it. They don't have it. Everybody else, they've got a lot of receivers, all this stuff. I like all these guys in general. I think Rondale Moore could have a big week, but I'm going to mostly stick to the DeAndre Hopkins side of things and just let if that doesn't, and if Ward covers him up, so be it. I don't know if I can play Beckham anymore. I just don't see them really wanting to have too much to do with him in general. He seems to be off. At the same time, I could make an argument that maybe this is the time you try and get right with him. I don't know, man. I love this whole game, but I don't know where I stand on the passing game for Cleveland. And I really like, it's going to be very simple for me on Arizona. I'm just going to play Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Simple as that. Nothing else.
Yeah, if anything, I might not play anything from this game. Although it's, like I said, it seems like it's such a terrible thing to do.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'll probably play some Hopkins, probably play some Chubb or something. There's going to be a zillion plays in this game. And so someone's got to do something. I
mean, you think about it, like they're going to, if Cleveland is going to be the favorite and we think that, if you think that Vegas is right by that, you're going to get Kyler running free, running wild. You know what I mean? I just think this is a really good spot. I think Lamar is number one. I think Kyler's number two, and I think Mahomes is number three this week. But I expect them all to have monster games. I really like Kyler here. I mean, I don't care. This Cleveland line is supposed to be great and everything, and they've got the corners and everything. I watched them just get, the Chargers basically did whatever they want to this team, and there's no reason why I would expect Arizona to be any different. So this is my second favorite game, and then the Chargers and Baltimore would be my third favorite game. But I do think I think Nick Chubb is going to have a monster day.
You like anything in the Vegas game?
So no, I actually think the total is a little higher than I would have guessed, which sounds weird to say because it's not that high.
Who'd they name interim coach?
I don't actually even know yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if we even know yet. I don't know if they've announced one. There's plenty of things you could argue for in this game. I'm not going to spend time doing it. It's just feels like a good defense in Denver, a Vegas team that's going to slowly move the ball up the field. I could see making an argument for Josh Jacobs. I guess that would be the most interest I have in this game, but even that I don't really like. I don't really like anything, to be honest, in this game.
I like in the last game, I actually have Dallas rated as a team to target. Not the top team by any stretch, but I have my sixth top team to target. Now again, New England's defense is whatever it is, but I'll take a shot. I think at Dallas here. I know where my targets are going. I'll take a shot with Prescott to Cooper and Lamb. Yeah, I don't think I want to play Zeke today, this week, but Dallas is, look, it's the whole thing. Do defenses matter, et cetera, et cetera. But Dallas is like uber chalk every week, except for this week. You
don't think that by the end of the week, CeeDee Lamb and Cooper will be popular?
You think so?
I think they will be. But I still love them. I mean, the price is too low. It's like it's the same tier again. I like the Cooper, Lamb, and Keenan Allen tier. That's what I want to go to as my second receiver, with whether it be Tyreek Hill or DeAndre Hopkins. But I really, really like CeeDee Lamb, especially at 6,500. I think it's just a little too cheap. I'm on the side, that Dallas is just better than everybody thinks all around. Defense included. They're the only team to be 5-0 against the spread this year. They've covered every single game so far. They have looked like they've had no problem moving the ball. The only issue you get with them at running back is that you have a really, really, really good backup in Tony Pollard. Like it's going to make it really hard to play Zeke on full slates for me. But I am very into the Dallas passing game. And I think they do try to stop the Dallas running game. That's the first thing that Belichick will try and stop. And I don't think I just can't find a play that I really like. You could make an argument, of course, Jacoby Myers, sure, like that's fine. I don't think I want to play Damian Harris. I don't think I could play anything on New England side, but I do like the Dallas side quite a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed one thing real quick with them. I do think that Hunter Henry is look, they went out and got this guy in the offseason to play in their big tight end sets. I know there's Jonnu Smith still there, but Hunter Henry's a really talented dude. I think there's an argument for him, I guess, to be the only guy in New England. So anyway, to sum up real quick.
Yeah, the one team that I didn't spend as much time on as I could have or should have, just to let you know where I am right now. I'll get to it. So I had KC as my top idea. Then Baltimore, Rams, Baltimore, Washington, Cincinnati, Chargers, Dallas. But I neglected to mention the Rams because I just came up with this game script that they were just going to blow them out and just run the ball. Like you were kind of implying, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, like they could get 3 touchdowns for Cooper Kupp, like if you want to do that.
Right.
So and I do have Kupp as a good value too. So I don't think that you should just you shouldn't stick to one particular game script and basically predict blowouts in football. So I think that the Rams, you could play these guys. They can get, they could blow them out another way. They could blow them out with 4 touchdown passes also.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. It's not my targeted game. My targets are in order: KC, Washington, Arizona, Cleveland, and then Baltimore and the Chargers. I'm curious to see where ownership ends up. Obviously, we do these shows early in the week. I will just mention a few like highlighted plays of the guys that I really like. I still do like Henderson. I'm just curious to see how chalky he ends up. Evan Ingram, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Booker, Swift, Hawkinson, Keenan Allen, Lamb and Cooper, Lamar, and Nick Chubb are the guys who I have, and McCaffrey, assuming that he's playing. So I think that they're going to do something different with McCaffrey. My thought is, everybody's going to say, oh, well, they might limit him and this and that. They have to protect him and all this. Look, at some point, you got to let the guy play. This is nonsense. So I'm going to be very, very heavy on McCaffrey, assuming that he's fully a go. That's where I'm at. And now we get
something else. The running backs are pretty I think pretty weak this week.
Yeah, that's what I know. We don't have to worry about all the. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're not going to worry about paying up, everybody's going to play these 50 whatever 100 to 60 whatever. And I'm into that idea when you've got all the top guys who are eating the ownership. This week you're not going to have that situation. So I'm going to say let's play the top guy, or the top guys. You play Cook or McCaffrey, and I think you get low ownership on them, which is why I needed that chief receiver so bad. But I really like that sort of build, to go all the way up for McCaffrey or to Cook, because I don't think that's what everybody's going to do. I also like Nick Chubb a ton, and Jonathan Taylor. I guess I forgot to mention Jonathan Taylor. Oh, and watch out, guys. Paris Campbell is going to break a slate coming to you soon, and this might be the one for him. So it almost happened for me at 9% in the showdown slate, and then at 0.1% in the captain role. Didn't obviously think there was too much other scoring going on, but they were looking for Paris Campbell downfield quite a bit. So look out for Paris Campbell this week. Sheets, anything else before we get out of here?
No, we're good.
All right, guys, let's crush it this week. Rhodey and I will be back on either tomorrow or Friday morning, and we will have the updated picks of the week, and then we will be there at 11:30 a.m. Eastern for you on Sunday. Good luck to everybody. I will have all my picks and plays uploaded to on TrueDFS on the website probably in the next day or so, and let's crush it this week.
All right.
Good luck, everybody.
See you later.